The Marshall Islands are a nation of islands. They are in the Pacific Ocean. The islands are famous for their beauty. They have blue lagoons and coral reefs. The Marshall Islands are remote. They are between Hawaii and Australia. The islands are small. They are spread out over a large area of ocean. There are two island chains. They are called Ralik and Ratak. This means sunset and sunrise in the Marshallese language. People arrived on the Marshall Islands long ago. They were skilled navigators. They traveled in canoes. They used the stars and currents to guide them. The origin of these first settlers is a mystery. It is likely they came from Southeast Asia. They brought with them knowledge of farming and fishing. They adapted to life on the islands. These early Marshallese were organized into clans. They developed a unique culture. Their way of life was connected to the ocean. They relied on it for food and transportation. European explorers arrived in the 16th century. The Spanish were the first. They were followed by the British and Germans. These encounters brought changes to the islands. Trading began between the Europeans and Marshallese. Europeans brought new goods. They also brought diseases. These diseases had a devastating impact on the islanders. In the late 19th century, Germany claimed the Marshall Islands. They established a colony there. The Germans brought their language and customs. They exploited the islands for resources. Section 4, a World War battlefield, the Marshall Islands under siege. The Marshall Islands, a remote group of atolls and islands in the Pacific Ocean, found themselves at the heart of a fierce conflict during World War II. World War II brought conflict to the Pacific. The vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean became a major theater of war, with battles raging across its many islands. The Marshall Islands became a battleground. Japan occupied the islands. The Japanese military fortified the islands, turning them into strongholds. The United States fought to liberate them. American forces launched a series of assaults to reclaim the islands from Japanese control. The Battle of Kwajalein was a major battle. The US forces won. This victory was a turning point in the Pacific Campaign, but the fighting left its mark. Many Marshallese were displaced. The local population suffered greatly, with homes and communities destroyed. Their lands were scarred by the conflict. The once pristine landscapes bore the scars of war, with craters and wreckage scattered across the islands. The war also brought a new threat. The end of World War II did not bring peace to the Marshall Islands. The US conducted nuclear testing on Bikini Atoll. These tests were part of a series of nuclear experiments conducted by the United States. This testing had long-lasting consequences. The environment was heavily contaminated, and the effects are still felt today. It displaced residents and contaminated the environment. The people of Bikini Atoll were forced to leave their homes, and many have never been able to return. Section 5, the path to self-governance, independence and beyond. After World War II, the Marshall Islands became part of the Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands. This was under US administration, which meant that the United States had significant influence over the islands' governance and development. The US had a responsibility to help the islands develop, providing aid and support to improve infrastructure and education. The Marshall Islands negotiated with the US for self-government, seeking greater autonomy and the ability to make their own decisions. They wanted control over their own affairs. In 1979, they adopted their own constitution, a significant step toward full independence. In 1986, the Marshall Islands gained full independence, marking the end of US administrative control. They became a sovereign nation, free to govern themselves and make their own international agreements. They joined the United Nations, becoming an active member of the global community. They began to chart their own course in the world, focusing on sustainable development and preserving their unique cultural heritage. Section 6. Culture and Knowledge, the Marshallese Way. The Marshallese people have a rich culture that has been passed down through generations. They have their own unique language and traditions, which are celebrated through various ceremonies and rituals. They are renowned for their exceptional skills in navigation and canoe building, a craft that has been perfected over centuries. Education holds a significant place in Marshallese society, with a strong emphasis on both traditional and modern learning. There are numerous schools on the islands, ensuring that children receive a well-rounded education. The College of the Marshall Islands provides opportunities for higher education, helping students to achieve their dreams and contribute to their community. Despite their rich culture and strong educational system, the Marshall Islands face significant challenges. Climate change is a major threat, affecting their environment and way of life. Rising sea levels pose a serious threat to their very existence, with many areas at risk of being submerged. The Marshallese people are actively advocating for global action on climate change, striving to protect their homeland. The Marshall Islands are a small nation with a big story, rich in history and resilience. From the ancient navigators who first settled the islands to the nuclear testing of the 20th century, they have witnessed and endured significant historical events. Today, they continue to navigate the challenges of the 21st century, balancing tradition with modernity and resilience with hope for the future.